Good. I would love to introduce our next guest, Marvin, and I'm excited about Bob Sweeney. Bob Sweeney is a graduate of Moody Bible Institute. He spent 5 years as a senior pastor in Anchorage and Central Pennsylvania. And Bob is a former head chaplain of a maximum security prison for Pennsylvania. He did that, and he is the executive director and CEO of Dallas Life. Dallas Life is the largest homeless shelter in North Texas and author of the new book, 2535 Main Street, Rethinking Homeless America. Good morning, Bob. Thank you for joining us here on today's Issues, and welcome to the program.
Well, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Bob, that's quite a shift from Anchorage, Alaska to Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, but the weather here is great.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. In my opinion, I mean, I love the folks in Alaska, but that was a good move. You made a smart move. But that stop off in Pennsylvania, I love those people too. But in January and February, I don't want to be living in Pennsylvania. But that's just me. Okay. Tell us a little bit about your ministry there.
Well, Dallas Life is seeing some amazing results of folks that have entered a long-term program that is resulting in homelessness no longer being an issue in their lives because they are actually having complete, full recovery. Not a Band-Aid, but complete, full recovery from the addictions and the things that caused them to be homeless in the first place.
You know, when Marvin and I were talking just earlier about the book, when I get a picture, Bob, of a homeless person, I'm thinking of that guy sitting at the red light with the sign, "We'll work for food." But you sort of debunked that myth a little bit. Can you unpackage a little bit what the typical picture of a homeless person is in America?
Sure. One of the issues that arises when you see that guy on the side of the road with that sign is, do I give him money? Because everyone worries that if I give him money, he's going to spend it on the wrong things. And those of us working in professional circles with the homeless worry about the same thing. So we kind of go against the current, I should say, here at Dallas Life, because we really believe that the person holding up that sign is more of a business owner or a businessman. That's an entrepreneur. He knows exactly how many dollars he has to raise at that street corner to be able to stay at the Motel 6 or a five-star hotel that night. And so what we do is we approach those folks and say, there's a better way. There's a better way to live, and we'd rather help you get to the root cause of the homelessness, get past that, and then you'll never be homeless again.
Now, you were involved with a maximum security prison also, and has that work been related at all to your work with the homeless?
Yeah, very, very similar. I found that the 15 years in the senior pastorate, I had congregations that wanted to make a difference, and they didn't know how. Then I stepped into the prison system where I had 1,200 inmates that wanted to get back into society as contributing members, and they didn't know how. So now this blend of churches plugging into the lives of homeless people through our Christian shelter, I'm seeing the best of both, and people really get in recovery.
Tell us a little bit about the people of the street, the people that are homeless. We've got this picture in our mind, as John was saying earlier, and that's not an accurate picture of what you see.
You're right.
In
yeah.
the ministry there. What do you see, and how can we recognize what we're looking at and don't notice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. First thing we need to do is realize that they are people. And these are people that are struggling 365 days a year, not just over a holiday time or on the coldest nights of the winter. But on the other hand, while we look at them and realize they are just people, we also have to realize that God gave them a self-worth and a need to be used and needed here on the earth, and God has a purpose for them. The average homeless person is far cleaner, far more grateful, and far more intelligent than the average person thinks when they do pull up to that red light and just see a person holding that sign or pushing that grocery cart of pop cans as he's walking down the street.
When you think about, I love in your book, you talk about some of the lessons that we can learn from the homeless. What are some of the things we can learn from the homeless?
Yeah, just getting to the point where we realize that there is something to be learned. When the scriptures say that the poor will always be with us, I just don't understand why too many cities in America are saying we have a plan to eradicate homelessness. Well, if the poor will always be with us, the point I mentioned in the book is perhaps there's something they're supposed to teach us. Or as the premise in the book says, homelessness is not a disease that needs to be cured. It's a disorder that needs to be addressed. So one of the things we learn is in talking with people who come right off the street, they have a lot of the same exact goals and expectations that we do. They want their kids to do well. They want to get back into an apartment. They want to contribute to society and not just be a drain on that society. And the average person doesn't realize that homeless people have these desires.
You have some pretty prominent people who are involved with the 2535 project, don't you?
Yeah, we sure do.
Tell
it's
us about
really
them.
exciting. Well, Tony Evans has partnered with us from the Urban Alternative and Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship and said that as he looks around at homelessness, ours is the shelter that he wants to partner with. And so Tony spoke at a luncheon for us in May where we were honoring him because of his commitment to Christian service, and he turned around and honored us by saying, this is the type of thing that should be happening across the country. Churches want to partner with shelters, but they want to really see change. And isn't that really what all of us want to see? And Governor Huckabee also saw the book, and we talked to him in depth about it. And Josh McDowell and Chad Hennings from the Dallas Cowboys and many caring people choosing to write some really great things as they see the program, and they want to see it replicated throughout the country.
Can you take us through what you do for someone who is homeless that comes to your shelter? Because I'm thinking, do they just stay there for eternity or forever? Or what process does a homeless person go through when they come there? Because obviously the goal is to get them back into society or get them back into a job or whatever.
True. That's a great question. The first thing we do when a person comes in off the street is we realize they've been traumatized. Something's happened in their lives, or there have been a series of things. People say, what causes homelessness? It's either drugs, alcohol, relationships, money, or mental illness. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 or 5 of those. So the first time they walk in, we want to give them 5 days to just relax and realize they're in a safe, clean environment. It's okay for their kids. They're going to have good food. They're going to have a warm meal. They're going to have a warm bed. And as a result, you just see the person kind of relax once they're here. At the end of that 5th day, though, that's kind of the decision factor day where they have to decide to either enter our pay-to-stay program, where if they're working, we expect them to contribute toward their own housing. We want to train them to be able to pay their rent on time and to get back into an apartment or a house. So we ask them to pay $10 per night. People say, you mean you charge the homeless? Well, life is not free. We all work for a living, and we want to advance ourselves. And then the other thing we offer is our long-term New Life program. That's absolutely free of charge. It's for those folks wanting to deal with those key issues of their homelessness. Why are they repeatedly doing the same thing and ending up at shelter after shelter after shelter? So those folks can go through a 10-month program at no charge. There's never any charge for children. And those families can put their lives back together, sometimes staying with us for extended periods of time.
Talking to Bob Sweeney. He is the CEO and Executive Director of Dallas Life, one of the largest homeless shelters in North Texas, I think the largest homeless shelter. And one of the things that surprised me, Bob, as I was kind of scanning through the book a little bit, is that you actually take, I don't know if you take government funding or government grants. It kind of surprised me being a Christian ministry. Can you talk about that and why you do that?
Yeah, well, actually, we don't get any government money.
Oh, okay.
However, there are some programs out there that they'll fund specific things that you do, if it's a feeding program or an after-school program, whether you be Christian connected or not. And so those funds we do go after. But we receive no United Way funding, no government funds in any way at all. Most of our donations come from individual people that just want to write that check to us every month, however small or large it might be.
How large is your facility? How many people can you accommodate?
If there were to be a catastrophe in Dallas, I could take 750. But we're always somewhere between 300 and 500 people each night here at Dallas Life.
Well, I have to ask you this. That sounds like an expensive operation, and it's in Dallas, Texas, and like most cities, if you do anything in the city, it's going to cost you some money. How do you? You're a preacher, right?
I sure am. I'm
just checking. And a prison chaplain and a pastor of churches, and here you are in Dallas. Did you become wealthy enough to do all this somehow, or did you have some help getting this thing started? That's what I'm.
No, I keep my desk real low to the ground. It's easier to stay on your knees that way. We are just regularly asking God for His best, and this is His ministry. And since we believe it to be His, we're trusting Him to fund it. Now, we want to make wise decisions. We want to approach our fundraising dollars in the most efficient way that we can. And we like to represent ourselves well when we're out asked to speak on radio or TV or in written form. So we're relying on a number of godly people who continually support us monthly. We have a couple of special events each year, a luncheon in the spring and an auction in the fall. We also go after some foundations and corporations, many of which out there do support Christian causes. But for the most part, it's just that individual donor that sends that $25, or that grandmother that says, I'm going to remember you at $10 a month forever. And some of them have been doing that for 35 and 40 years.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. We'll continue this discussion in just a few minutes. You stay tuned.